as I was saying, this is part 2 because it cut out. Like I was saying to you, by the time you lot have started complaining, which you lot do, the same people that support your individual English club teams, obviously support the nation at major championships, and then you lot start to complain after. So by then it's too late, because what I'm trying to say to you is the best English players that are coming through, that are being produced at their clubs, they're not going on to play for the clubs, for the nation. Like I said to you, when you see people like Adam Johnson, like I know he's in jail, but that's not the point right now. Adam Johnson, who else is there? Jack Rodwell, these players who've Scott Sinclair, who once upon a time everyone's raving about them. Oh, and because they're good players, they get bought by these teams just to fill the quota. They don't care about them. But if you look over the pond and you're going to look at Barcelona, for example, look at their selection process, or look in Spain, the best players, the best Spanish players, they go and play for the best Spanish clubs. That don't happen in England. The best English players don't go on. The ones that are coming through, they go and play for the Spanish clubs. The best Spanish players. The best English players don't. Josh McEachran. Talk to me about Josh McEachran. Go and look on YouTube and see what Josh McEachran has done when he's been played for Chelsea. He's done well. He's done well for Chelsea. And this is the thing. He's been picked up as a young 10-year-old as one of the best in the country. Then he's been developed. He's one of the best in the country. Good enough to get his debut at 17 in the Champions League. So that means he's good, right? Because he's playing for Chelsea. He's got his debut. He's good enough to get his debut. But they don't care about leaving him. They'll go and buy a ready-made guy across the pond. So then one of the best players in the country who's been groomed, Josh McEachran, he doesn't get his opportunity, a real opportunity to play in the first team. But when that happens in Barcelona and these places, the player that's come through and he's their best player, that's come through their system, he's a regular. He's going to get pushed into the team. That's the difference. So then, the best player in our system, you can say a collective English pool coming through, in this case, let's just say it was Josh McEachran as a footballer. And go and look at that player. He's a good player. Where's he going to play? Because Chelsea's not going to play him because they don't care. Big club in Spain, Barcelona, they care. They put their best in. That's why then you see the best players in the Spanish national team collectively. That's how it was meant to go. But they care more about it. Go and listen to Cruyff speak about it. Go and listen to Guardiola. Who else is there? Many players and coaches. Xavi, they care about them. The best young players coming through should be playing for the first team. Not, oh, Chelsea's got 38 players on the loan. And then look, if you look at it, most of them are foreign players. But that's why I rate Pochettino so high. And I say it, when I'm talking about it, it's not who's better. I look at things way, you could say, deeper. It's like, not a visionary, but I seen these things when I was young. I used to sit down and talk about these things with Glenn Hoddle, Martin Yeo. There's a lot of people in England, it's kind of like, they want to do things that's greater, but it's like, the Premier League is such a business now. It's a business. So they don't really care. When you see them, oh yeah, bringing in England, that they brought in those quotas to try and appease the English FA and trying to help not the grassroots, help the production of English players. When they're really bringing it in, and then what happens? What's that team called? Manchester City's running out and trying to buy Wilshere, who's at Spurs, and then offering him double the money, and it's like, it's messing up the whole thing. Like I said, they don't want Delph. Delph's better off just staying at Villa and playing. But if he was staying at Villa and playing, and Villa wasn't doing that well, and he gets relegated, he wouldn't have been in the England squad, in contention, because he'd been relegated with Michael Richards and Johnny Leicester, who they was in the squad. So it's like, people are looking at, players don't change overnight. That's what you don't just understand. Players don't change overnight. But the best, listen, I'm gonna give you a quick example, and I want to do this in diagram form, because they say a picture speaks 1,000 words, right? And I really want to do this for you so you can understand it. And the thing about this is, the media, the people who are kind of creating you lot's opinions, because that's what you're seeing, right? Because you're not on the inside. Be honest with me. So you're not on the inside, so you don't know what really goes on. But the media, who knows a bit what's going on, and then they splurge it out there. You lot see it, regurgitate it in the street, in the barbershops. It's sickening to me, but it's all what you don't know. But I'm going to give you an example. You've got 100 players, right? The best 100 players in English football that's been selected, they're 10 years old, right? 100 of them. Just let's say 100. They've now been groomed through by these teams. The best 100, and they come through, right? They come through the youth ranks for like 8 years. They make it up to the first team. 18 years old, 19 years old. The best ones are usually where? Usually at the best clubs, right? Remember, I've gone through the system, so I've seen it. So they're usually at the best clubs. And you usually see that, and it's evident because the best clubs at youth level and reserve team level will usually competing against each other, and the cream usually rises the crop. And you play against the best young players, right? So we play against the best young players. Perfect example, it happened to us at Arsenal. We had back-to-back youth cups, won everything. If you go and speak to people of that generation, they will tell you, oh, they like go on, like anyone that was around playing in that time, they would tell you we had 2 of the best youth teams back-to-back. So we have these youth teams. At the time, Arsenal first team, one of the best in the world. The team, not the club. The club was big. The team, the Invincibles. So Wenger brought these players head in, and he done what he needed to do. Well, fair play to him, well done to him. But my point is, at that time, in England, most of us players, we was making up the national team, the English national team. So remember, you have the best players in the country, which we was at the time at Arsenal. Then high percentage of us was in the England under 18s, under 20s, right? So we've got all these players in there. So that means we're the best in the country, right? Or else they wouldn't have selected us. They would have selected the guys down at the other teams. Do you know what I mean? Right or wrong? Correct. Okay. We now, who are the best in the country, best talented players in the country, we don't go on and play for England. Because our club doesn't really care, and there's no rules in place where it's saying Wenger's got a field 9 players. English, or like I said, in a lot of foreign countries that I've seen, they have a 4 player maximum foreign rule. He doesn't have to do that. So he's buying all these people. So now we produce all these good talents who, if you go and look at the Arsenal Emirates Wall of Fame, we're on the wall. Not because they were doing us a favour, because we were talented, or some of us played for the first team. So what I'm saying is, we don't go on and play for that team. Not because of us, because we are the best in the country, right? Like they've suggested with national team selections. We don't do that because of Arsene Wenger's policy. Cool, he done well for it. But what I'm saying is, the English game and the best English players do not come through because there's no rule set in place. Because, like, collectively, the Premier League, the clubs, the owners, they don't care about English football. It's a business. So you're not going to see the best English players come through. So what happens? David Noble, one of the best English players that you don't even know about, he ends up going to Boston. Because he goes to West Ham, doesn't play. Then he has to go to Boston. Because English football can't, a lot of the teams can't accommodate a technically gifted player. And if you don't know, go and ask people about David Noble. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, he's just one. Then you got Bentley. He fortunately went away. He came back, went forward. But then another one. Oh, you lot slated him off. Oh, he's the next David Beckham. He was never no David Beckham. He's a talented, creative, central player at number 10. Not a winger who gets stuck out wide. But that's what they do. Another creative player. And I know why Bentley quit. Because he had enough of this nonsense. Because he knows it's nonsense. Then you got Jerome Thomas, another good player. And Jermaine Pennant. Then there was, who else is there? There's loads of them. Stephen Sidwell. And Sidwell's an interesting one because he was one of the more English type of players. So good player, but more of an English type of player. So it's easy for him to fit into certain systems. He went away at Reading and done well, but he's more of an English type of player. But credit due to him, he's like a brother. He's a good central midfield player. But as I was saying, there's no actual policy in place to protect the best players coming through. And what that example I gave you is clear as day. Clear as day. So you see players that don't come through at the clubs. Remember, the best teams usually set the best players in the country. Those teams, they don't generally care. They don't care about Josh McEachran coming through. You think they care, oh yeah, we've got the best young player coming through. Wait until he gets the first team level. And then the coach is looking at him and going, he's too small. No, because there's no rules in place to stop the players, stop the coaches from saying that. Because it's bollocks. That's all bollocks. How's the best players in Spain, when they're coming through at the best clubs, like I said to you, the best clubs in Spain, like say Barcelona, they're usually going to get the first dibs on the best players, or Real Madrid. Barcelona, what do? Bring those boys through in a system. They all play the same system. They have a B team that allows them to play competitive football. Bang, blood them in. They have a footballing system that allows the best footballers Not just workers. Everyone should be working on the pitch. Everyone's a worker. The best footballers, they can all be accommodated in a footballing system where they've got the ball more, and then when they ever got the ball, they don't look at him and go, oh, like what they say about Joshua Keckham or Tom Holland. Oh, he doesn't get around about. He doesn't get stuck in. He doesn't get around the park. No. They collectively press and they win the ball back collectively. They're not looking at Joshua Keckham and says he doesn't get stuck in. He can't jump that high and compete. Nonsense. I mean, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. So when I'm saying that about Eric Dyer, how's he skipped ahead of Tom? Like, even if Tom was in the Premier League, maybe the manager might select him. Cool. I'm just saying to you, it's so crazy, and I know why they do it. They select these players, and then all of a sudden Tom's out the league. Oh, no, they don't select him. Forget him selecting him. He's not in the conversation.